Great day, great day, great day. This is Dr. Franco Taylor, and you're here with me on the Right Stuff Helps radio broadcast. That's right. We broadcast on WMPR 90.1 FM out of Jackson, Mississippi, and we bring you what we call the right stuff. Like I've always said, most of us have eaten the wrong stuff. We drank the wrong stuff. We listened to, we looked at, and we did the wrong stuff. So isn't it about time that we got our hands on the right stuff? I dare say that it is. And that's what we bring you here on the Right Stuff Helps radio broadcast. You can reach us at 901 425 2273. You can text us at 913 363 food. That's 913 363 3663. Or you can reach us by way of our website, www.rightstuffhealth.com. Or if you like, you can text us. Not text us, but reach us through our email, which is info at rightstuffhealth.com. All right, folks, got something very interesting for you today. You know, we try to bring you the right stuff. And, I have done many dissertations to you about why we eat the way we do and about the Bible way to health, what God says that we should eat and how it links up scientifically. But today, if I had a title, I would simply say, it costs to be sick. You know, people will tell you, man, it costs too much, Dr. Franco, to eat healthy. All those vegetables, come on. You're going to eat them anyway. It's just how you eat them is what we come to you with. Instead of eating them all fried and dyed and laid to the side and greased all up, we tell you to eat them in a more healthy way. But the bottom line, people tell me all the time, Dr. Franco, it costs to be healthy, to eat that way. Well, I'm here to say that it costs to be sick. That's right. It costs to be sick. Lots of money. Let me tell you something, folks. It costs to be sick, I'm saying. Over $385 million a day was lost from work, people not being able to go to work. This was 10 years ago. $385 million a day lost from work absences. Are you listening to me? $385 million a day. It costs to be sick, folks. Somebody's got to pay. $200 million a day was lost from school absenteeism. That's right, students not making it to school. Are y'all listening to me? The cost of sickness. Over $420 billion cost a year for care costs. This is 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. It would actually cut the projected national debt in half. So we're saying that if all that sickness didn't take place, the national debt for the United States would be cut in half. I hope y'all are hearing what I'm saying. What does that mean as it relates to our health? What does that mean as it relates to our health? What does it mean? Well, that means that there's over one death every 20 seconds. This was 10 years ago from heart disease and cancer. From heart disease and cancer, there was over one death every 20 seconds. In 1945, one of every 15 people died from heart problems and cancer. One of every 15. Then we went through something. We went through the race for the cure, okay? The pure cure. I mean, they were really millions and millions and millions of dollars were being donated and given and solicited because they were trying to find the cure. It was the race to find the cure, okay? And that was in 1945. From 1945 until 1978, listen to me carefully, it went from 1 out of 15 people, and you would think with all those millions and billions of dollars going to find the cure, that it would go down to maybe 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 2. But instead of being 1 out of 4 people dying every year from cancer and heart attack, it went up in 1978 to 1 out of every 4. So it actually went down. I mean, the numbers, more people were getting sick than getting better. I hope you're listening to me. So if all these millions and billions of dollars were being spent for the cure, and we were being asked and are still being asked to help with that, and we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker, then what was going on, folks? That's almost 600,000 people a year dying. Now it's up close to 1 million. I hope y'all are listening to what I'm saying. So what am I saying to you? I'm simply saying that we're not getting healthier. We're the most scientific nation in the world. We have more doctors in the United States than there have been doctors on the planet since the beginning of time. Living today, right now in the United States, doctors and scientists. We've got the most expensive equipment and laboratories and chemistry, all that stuff, than ever before since the beginning of history. So why are we getting sicker and sicker and sicker? Could it have to do with the way that we eat? Well, I've got something here called the CMS.gov, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. There's a fact sheet here, and I'm just going to go through this fact sheet just a little bit, and then we're going to just talk and try to make it make some sense to you, because it's so important that, again, I always tell you that Hosea 4:6 says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. They are destroyed for lack of knowledge. People, we just don't know the truth. Again, we've been told the wrong stuff. We've read the wrong stuff. We listened to and looked at the wrong stuff. That's why we try to come to you with the right stuff. That's right. That truth that you can live with, okay? I once was looking at writing a book, and the book was going to be called The Truth, the Whole Truth, and Nothing But a Lie. But my wife said, that's kind of deep. You better not jump out there with that. But we have been miseducated. We've been told an untruth year after year after year after year for the last 60, 70 years. And I just wonder, what is the reason for it? Could it be about money? Could it be about money? But let me tell you something. There's something called the NHE fact sheet. This is has to do with federal government spending for health care. And it's actually called the National Health Emergency. Okay. There's a committee that stands over the National Health Emergency Act, so to speak. And it says that the National Health Emergency, this is the money that the government spends for your health, okay? There are many of us on Medicare, Medicaid. You get a certain age, 65 and over, and then you've got disabled individuals that are younger than that, that are their insurance is being taken care of basically by the government. And so the government, of course, is spending the money taking care of you, but there's something about it. It's getting to be too expensive. It has been for years. But it says here that the National Health Emergency grew 9.7% up to 4.1 trillion in 2020. That's almost 12,530 per person, and it accounted for over 19.7% of the gross domestic product. In other words, that money was being spent as it relates to the overall monies spent here in the United States. Medicare spending grew 3.5% to 829.5 billion in 2020, or 20% of the national health emergency. Listen to me carefully. That's Medicare. Medicaid spending grew 9.2% to 671.2 billion in 2020, or 16% of the total national health emergency. Oh, that's a powerful name. Most of you have never heard of that, but the government spending for your health care is called National Health Emergency. Boy, are y'all getting this? Man, private health insurance spending declined a little bit, but it was still at 1.151 billion, or 28%. So if you look at all of these together, you're looking at pretty close to about, say, 48%. And then out-of-pocket spending, you're looking at a total of about 64% of the national health emergency came from different parts of the government. So the government is actually taking care of us, folks. Are you listening to what I'm saying? They're taking care of the majority of people in the United States. The government is taking care of them. And that's powerful that you understand that. Federal government spending grew 36%. That's almost 50% in 2020, and it grew so significantly because of the response to COVID-19 pandemic. But don't you know that they knew years ago that everything was going up? They knew that it was close, and they said the only thing that was holding back was some type of a pandemic. And now all of a sudden we've got the pandemic. So I just wanted to kind of alert you to that it costs to be sick, folks. But who does it cost? It's costing the government, and they're saying, no, 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 we can't handle that. So what I'm getting ready to do, and for those of you who are interested, for a small donation, we'll send you this actual study. But this is a study. Listen to me carefully. This study is called the Dietary Goals for the United States. All right. And it was prepared in 1977 by the staff of the Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs in the United States Senate. That means that the United States Senate did a study, and they published it on what needed to happen in the American diet. And you knew nothing about it. That's right. This was February 1977, and printed for the use of the Select Committee on Nutrition and Human Needs. Again, in the government, this was in the United States Government Printing Office, Washington, D.C., 1977. Okay. And these are excerpts from this first edition of the Dietary Goals for the United States. And we got some statements there from Dr. C. Samuel West regarding this three-page edition, and Senator Percy's three-page forward to the second edition of the Dietary Goals. So let's just take a look at what's being said here, and then we'll kind of harp on it a little bit. I want you to hear this. And it says in the forward from George McGovern, who was at that time the chairman over this committee, this Dietary Goals Committee. And this is what they said. The purpose of this report, and I'm reading it, is to point out that the eating patterns of this century represent as critical a public health concern as any now before us. So they're saying that the way we eat, and this was in 1977, folks, they say that the way we were eating and the way our eating was growing was, it represented a dire problem, a public health concern. There were no other concerns worse than that. I'm talking about cancer, diabetes, all kinds of infections. None of them touched our eating problem. We must acknowledge and recognize, they say, that the public is confused about what to eat to maximize health. Are y'all listening to me? This is your government that you love and trust so much. This is what they had to say about you. They say that you don't even have enough sense to know how to eat to maximize your health. So if the government knows that, do you think the doctors and medical people know that too? So they know you're not going to eat right. Therefore, they know you're going to be sick. So therefore, they can sell you all them drugs, all those meds, all those operations and so forth, which we find out in a lot of cases are unnecessary. They admit it, not me. They admit it themselves. But what are we saying here? Again, we must recognize that the public is confused about what to eat to maximize their health. If we, as a government, want to reduce health costs and maximize the quality of life for all Americans, we have an obligation to provide practical guides to the individual consumer, as well as set national dietary goals for the country as a whole. Have you ever seen any of that? Has the government or the medical associations ever given you how to eat? Yeah, they have. And guess what they told you? Let's think about that just a little bit. So again, they said it is our job to give the Americans practical guides and to help the consumer to understand as a whole throughout this country how they ought to eat. It says such an effort is long overdue. Hopefully this study will be a first major step in that direction. Think about this. When we were in school, I'm 72, and when I was in school, I guess first through sixth grade, we read books called See, Sally run. See Dick jump. See the dog. I can't think of the dog's next. Spot. See Spot bark. Okay. Uh, but they taught us something. They taught us that see the policeman. He guards our lives. See the fireman. He protects our lives. And then it says, see the doctor. He saves our lives. So as a child, as children, we're taught that who saves lives? The doctor. But my Bible tells me that I am the Lord that healeth thee. So it's saying to me then that God does the healing. So somehow it seems like we've been confused a little bit. How about how to eat? Well, we're taught in school that you have to eat from the three major groups. You have to have something brown, which is your meat. You have to have something white, which is your dairy, and something yellow, which is your eggs and so forth. Are you listening to what I'm saying? We're taught more about eating those kinds of things than we are eating vegetables. So mainly we have to eat meat, dairy, and cheese. That's what we were taught to eat as children. And so that's what everybody's eating. And guess what? Everybody's sick. So I'm going to go a little bit further here. Again, George McGovern says that in addition to acting as a practical guide to promote good eating habits, this report hopefully will also serve as a catalyst for government and industry action to facilitate the achievement of the recommended dietary goals. Listening to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. They're saying we're going to put this practical guide out for the people, but it's also going to give us, the government, and the industries who creating these foods, manufacturing these foods, processing these foods, it's going to give us an opportunity to facilitate the achievement of the recommended dietary goals. So without government and industry commitment to good nutrition, the American people will continue to eat themselves to poor health. This is your government talking about you. They say that if they don't get involved and teach you how to eat and have it set up on the labels, have it set up on the billboards, have it set up on the radio and TV about what to eat and how to eat it, that you're going to eat yourself into poor health. Government and industry have a responsibility to respond to the findings of the report. Action is needed to determine how changes can be made regarding the content of nutritional information provided to the public. In other words, we are going to determine how best to put the information out there about health to the public. The industry who's creating the foods and us, the government. So who literally makes a profit on the foods that are sold? Well, the government does, and guess who else does? The industries that are selling the food. So it's up to them to decide the guidelines, not you who are going to consume this food, but them, the ones that are going to make all the millions and billions and trillions off of selling you the food. Action is needed to determine how changes can be made regarding the content of nutritional information, the kinds of foods produced, how foods are processed and advertised, and the selection of foods offered by eating establishments. In other words, we're going to all get together and we're going to determine how to not, I didn't mean to say how to food, but how to feed the American public, okay? Our nation health depends on how well and how quickly government and industry respond. Are y'all listening? This was in 1977, and they did this every year or so. They would have new directions on dietary goals for the United States. Every time there was a new president elected, they do another thing. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? So, again, I'm just trying to help you all to see that since 1977, the government and industry have joined hands. You might call it the FDA, okay? Food and Drug Administration. They have literally come together to teach you how to eat the way that they want you to eat. Why? Because it's going to make them millions. It's going to help the gross national debt. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So yes, if they've got to take care of you through Medicare and Medicaid, they want to make sure, okay, that it rises to where they want it to rise to. So listen to this. The purpose of this press conference, this is a statement of Senator George McGovern on the publication of Dietary Goals for the United States. He says that the purpose of this press conference is to release a Nutrition Committee study entitled Dietary Goals for the United States and to explain why we need such a report. I should note from the outset that this is the first comprehensive statement by any branch of federal government on risk factors in the American diet. The simple fact is that our diets have changed radically within the last 50 years, with great and often very harmful effects on our health. These dietary changes represent as great a threat to public health as smoking. Wow, that's heavy. Too much fat, listen carefully. This is what we talk to you about all the time on here on the right stuff. We talk about what's going on here, and it says here, too much fat, first of all, okay? Too much sugar or salt can be and are linked directly to heart disease, cancer, obesity, and stroke, among other things. Okay, hold on just one. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so again, it says, among other things, the public, I'm sorry, in all, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Okay, diseases, cancer, obesity, and stroke, among other killer diseases. In all six of the major leading causes, well, 6 of the 10 leading causes of death in the United States, they've all been linked to our diet. Are you listening to me? 6 out of 10. I tell you this year in and year out, that 6 out of 10 of the top killers, the top diseases, the top hitmen to our health use the same weapon basically, and that's animal products, wrong foods. And that again leads to all these killer diseases. Those of us within the United States government have an obligation to acknowledge this. The public wants some guidance, wants to know the truth, and hopefully today we can lay the cornerstone for the building of better health for all Americans through better nutrition. Then they go on to state some facts. They say that last year, this would have been 1976, every man, woman, and child in the United States consumed 120 pounds, 125 pounds of fat and 100 pounds of sugar. Ooh, boy, that's almost a whole store full of Krispy Kreme donuts and a whole butcher shelf full of steaks and pork loins and roast and rump roast. Hey, y'all, listen to what I'm saying. 125 pounds of fat and 100 pounds of sugar per person. As you can see from our displays, they say it is a formidable quantity of fat and sugar. The consumption of soft drinks has more than doubled since 1960, they said, displacing milk as the second most consumed beverage. In 1975, we drank on the average of 295 12-ounce cans of soda. So why would they be concerned about soda outracing milk? Because of their control over the milk, the dairy industry, over the broilers, which are the chickens, over the beef futures, the stock market. In other words, they didn't have, the sodas and so forth, those are private companies. But when you talk about the control over the dairy board and over the meat and so forth, when the sodas start outrunning the milk, they say, whoa, we got to stop this. They need milk because milk is healthy for them. But what they didn't tell you is the guy named James Garner, who used to be on the Maverick, these Cowboys, and Maverick, they were favorite Cowboys. Bart Maverick, the older brother, literally started doing a campaign. And his campaign in the 60s was meat is real food for real people. So if you wanted real food, you needed some meat. 1 year into his campaign, Bart Maverick literally had a quintuple bypass. Do you know what that means? That means that all five of his major arteries closed up, and this guy almost died. What was he eating? Meat, real food for real people. I'm just trying to get you to see a little something here. So they're saying here that these sodas are knocking milk out. In the early 1900s, they go on to say almost 40% of our caloric intake came from fruit, vegetables, and grain products. Wow. They're saying that back in the beginning of the century, that most of the food we ate, over half of it came from fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, so forth, so on, grain products. So what they're saying is we went from kernel to kernel, okay? Kernels of corn to Colonel Sanders. Are you listening to me? They're telling you that they know what the problem is, but they got to figure out how to make it work so that they can make money for it. And so they go on to say that today, only a little more than 20% of our calories come from these good sources of food, okay? My hope is that this report will perform a function similar to that of the Surgeon General's report on smoking. Now remember, they're saying that when they put out the deal on smoking, and that it is hazardous to your health, that it will kill you, it will cause cancer, that we stop smoking. Well, I think it's because we went to another situation. We went to other situations. But again, they're saying that the cigarette industry has modified its products, okay, to reduce risk factors. And many people who would otherwise be smoking have stopped because of it. So if the cigarette industry can do it, and I doubt if they did, because I look around now and every 9 out of 10 people I see are smoking cigarettes. So again, how they produce it, how they put it out before us, is it the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but a lie? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out, how these things are getting worse when they're saying here, way back in 77, they were working, trying to do what? Make it better. So that was Senator George McGovern. I'm going to do just a little bit here. Again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor. You're here with me on the Right Stuff Helps radio broadcast. Today, we're talking about it costs to be sick. But who does it cost? It's costing the United States government. And so what they want to do, they do want to implement some things to help you get a little bit better so it won't cost them so much. That's how it appears. But let me tell you what Dr. Mark Hickstead, who was the professor of nutrition from the Harvard School of Public Health. They had Dr. Hickstead there as one of the speakers at this 1977 conference. And then following him was Dr. Beverly Winnicott of the Rockefeller Foundation. She was going to discuss the changes necessary in food. So I'm just going to take a little bit about what Dr. Hickstead, the professor of nutrition at the Harvard School of Public Health in Boston, Massachusetts. In other words, these are the top people that had to do with health. And what he said was the diet of the American people has become increasingly rich in meat, rich in other sources of saturated fat, and rich in cholesterol and in sugar. They're all saying the same thing, the thing that I've been telling you for all these years. And it's like, well, Dr. Franco, the doctors don't tell us this. Of course not. But the government knows this and they speak on it. It's just that you don't get the information for some reason or another. There will be people who will contest this statement, but it has been pointed out repeatedly that the total sugar use has remained relatively constant for a number of years. But we see that the proportion of the total diet contributed by fatty and cholesterol-rich foods and by refined foods has actually risen. We might better be able to tolerate this diet if, listen to me carefully, if we were much more active physically, but we are a sedentary people. In other words, y'all don't exercise. They're telling you. They know what the problem is. So since that's a problem, y'all drinking all the sodas, y'all looking at TV, not getting any rest, what can we serve them to fit this lifestyle that they've joined? Goes on to say, it should be emphasized, listen to me carefully, folks, and we're going to get ready to tie this up in a minute, but it says that This diet, which affluent people generally consume, is everywhere associated with a similar disease pattern. So people who eat this affluent, this wealthy, this expensive diet also have a similar disease pattern. High rates of ischemic heart disease. Whoa. Certain forms of cancer. Wow. Diabetes and obesity. So they're saying that when you eat this way, you eat wealthy foods, you get the sicknesses and diseases that come with it, like cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. Wow. These are the major causes of death and disability in the United States. These so-called degenerative diseases, okay, are, I'm sorry, these so-called, make sure I get it right here. Okay, these are the major causes of death and disability in the United States. These so-called degenerative diseases obviously become more important now that infectious diseases are, relatively speaking, under good control. So what they were saying was, we got to deal with these diseases since we've got infectious diseases under control. So they weren't dealing with a COVID and coronavirus right then. So they said, let's spend our time dealing with these major diseases. Because what they're saying is, if we had infectious diseases on top of these diseases, boy, we'd really have a problem, which sounds like where we are now. Because of COVID, everything has gone out the window since 2020. And now healthcare costs have doubled almost, and that's causing the government a great concern. So now they want to come out and help you to learn a little bit about what you need to do to help build that body up. So again, it says that I wish to emphasize that these diseases undoubtedly have a complex etiology or a beginning. It is not correct, strictly speaking, to say that they are the cause or they are caused by malnutrition, but rather that an inappropriate diet contributes to their causation. In other words, most of these sicknesses and diseases, 6 out of the 10 top killer diseases, are caused by wrong eating. It says our genetic makeup contributes, but not all people are equally susceptible. Yet, those who are generally susceptible, most of us, are those who would profit most from an appropriate diet. In other words, most of you could get well if you ate right. So it goes on to say, yet those who generally susceptible, appropriate diet. Diet is one of the things that we can change if we want to. Okay, so I wanted you to hear that, and I'm not going to really harbor on that anymore, but I wanted you to know that since the 60s and 70s, the government has had a great concern for the way that health was going. They knew, they talked about it, they had committees dealing with it. You hear every time there's a new president or a new governor or a new mayor, his main concern is what? Healthcare. Whether it's Obamacare, a Biden care, a Trump care, I don't know. But the bottom line is, I don't care, I guess is what it gets to. But yes, you do. You've got to realize that you can do something. You don't have to just accept the fact that you're doomed to drugs and medications and operations and so forth when you can do something. The government is telling you that you can do something. You can adopt what? A plant-based diet. We talk about it all the time. When are we going to wake up? A good time to deal with the times when I do my programs. I have a song on, and I'm going to start having it on this program too. Before we get started, we play the song by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes that says, "Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. Time for forward thinking, time for looking ahead." In other words, no more backward thinking. You can't be asleep, eyes wide shut. You've got to wake up. You've got to understand that there's something that you can do to make your health better. You can't continually to close your eyes or to turn your head to the truth. We know that diet is powerful. We know that it's addictive, eating a certain way. So what they were saying a minute ago, that genetics really doesn't have much to do with this. So that, just because granddaddy had diabetes, daddy had diabetes, Aunt Josephine had diabetes, is not the reason that you have diabetes. The reason you have diabetes is because granddaddy got it because he was eating all that meat. Daddy got it because he was eating all that meat. Aunt Josephine got it because she was eating all that meat and drinking all that them sodas and coffee with sugar in it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Smoking the cigarettes, drinking the alcohol. These are the reasons. Bad habits, especially the eating habits, is what caused these sicknesses and diseases. And the same thing is happening to us today. We eat the same way that our parents and our grandparents ate. That's the genetic. That's what was passed down. That's the hereditary factor, okay? Is that we're eating wrong for our bodies. And it's about time that we started eating the right stuff, the right stuff. So again, what I want to say to you is I've often talked to you about the Bible way to health, how to eat, what God gave us in the beginning. And that's what we want to just end with, if we could end with anything today. But again, realize that the government has always had a hand in what you eat. Those guidelines, teaching your babies what the best food is, okay? They had a commercial once going on where all the presidents, the president, and all of the politicians had milk on their top lip. And the commercial and advertising campaign ran, got milk? Well, if you got milk, you also got mucus, okay? Because milk and dairy products and animal products are so acidic that when you finish eating them, your mucus starts draining. Oh, are y'all listening to me? You want to know where the sinus and the infections and the allergies and the skin problems are coming from? They're coming from the abundance of dead animals that we're eating, the carcasses of dead animals. You all got to get that. And I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat that. I'm simply saying that you're going to be sick. You have to be, because these foods were never intended for you to eat. So again, you can reach us. We thank you for listening to us today on It Costs to Be Sick. And again, you can always call us to find out about that. We do consultations individually, group sessions, health revivals, seminars on health. We'll teach you how to get well naturally. You can call us at 901-425-2273. That's 901-425-2273. Or you can reach us by text. You can text us the information at 913-363-FOOD. That's 913-363-3663. Or you can contact us by way of email at info@rightstuffhealth.com. So again, we thank you for joining with us, and each week we'll bring you this kind of information. At this point, we'd like to talk just a little bit about the right kind of food and why it works the way that it does. Again, when God created man, and I've told you this many, many, many times, he gave us fruit, nuts, grains, and vegetables to eat. This was food that would keep us going for a long time. Sort of like the octane of fuel that you put in your car. I always give you this analogy. You have an owner's manual, and the owner's manual tells you what weight of oil goes in your crankcase, what octane of fuel goes in that gasoline tank, okay? How much water goes in the radiator, how much air goes in the tires, what type of transmission fluid you need to use, everything that car uses to keep it running. And most cars could run up to 400,000 miles if you gave them what they need. I have one outside that's closing in on 300,000 miles, and it's a 2010 Dodge Caravan. All the seats let down in the back, and it operates like a truck. Oh, it's just a wonderful car. But the bottom line is, it's got all those miles on it. And you can do the same thing with your body by using the manufacturer's instructions. That's right. And we show you that all the time. If you get in touch with us, one of the numbers that we gave you, or that we will give you again, you can get copies of some of these archived videos. We'll have those available for you soon. Some of these messages that we've given, telling you about eating and about drinking and the importance of getting exercise and fresh air and so forth. We'll talk to you about that. We'll help you with that by just getting in touch with us. But again, those foods do something for the body. Most of the diseases that we have, these degenerative diseases like high blood, like diabetes, these different allergies, and the bloating and the burping and the griping and the flatulence and all that type of thing, most of this comes from waste in the body. The body is not getting rid of the poisons. It's not getting rid of the toxins. What does that mean? How do we get rid of waste and toxins? Basically, we urinate them out. We have bowel movements to get them out. We sweat them out through the skin. Are you listening to me? These are the major ways of getting poisons and toxins out. So if those poisons and toxins don't come out like they're supposed to through the bowels because we're not eating enough fiber to make it happen, or we're not drinking enough water to get the urine to flow that it's supposed the way it's supposed to, then what happens? Our body is inundated with filth. We're actually auto intoxicating ourselves. So what happens then? Well, if the bowels are not moving and the urine is not flowing, where do the poisons go? Well, they go into the other tissues of the body. And in some cases, the liver gets so plugged up that it reaches to the skin for help. Why? Because the skin has millions of pores. So all of this waste tries to come out through the pores in the skin. And what happens then? We have all these allergic reactions. We have all these skin diseases. Sometimes it leads all the way to skin cancer. And all it is just an overabundance of waste that can't get out. So when the body is so plugged up, the bowels are not moving, you're not drinking enough water to urinate, then the waste tries to go through the skin. Are you listening to me? Your skin is just trying to do for you. Are you listening to me? I want you to laugh and I want you to hear and see how ridiculous it is sometimes for us to be sick. But it costs to be sick. It costs you mentally, physically, spiritually, economically to be sick. Are y'all getting this? It's a powerful, powerful thing, folks, when you realize that you can do something about your own health and welfare. It costs to be sick. Who does it cost? Well, it costs the system, but mainly it costs you. It costs you distress, thinking that it's someone else's fault, that it's mama and daddy's fault because you got this through heredity, okay? That this was a gift that they gave you through their genes. Well, it might have set up a little bit, but the way you've been eating and drinking and not getting exercise, not drinking water, not getting fresh air and sunlight, by not doing these simple things, you made yourself sick. So a plant-based diet is the best diet, plant-based. You can still eat some of the other things. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat meat. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but you are going to be sick. You are going to be obese. You're going to have these infections. You're going to have all this waste in your body. You're going to be constipated, allergies, headaches, sinuses, kidney, bladder, yeast, ovarian infections. Folks, are you listening to me? And this can eventually grow into cancerous growths, and morbid material is continually absorbed into your systems. And where does it come from? Bad food, bad eating, bad combinations of food, drinking liquids with your meals. You don't drink liquids with your meals. Oh, I got so many things I could tell you. If you're writing some of this down, if you're making sure that you see it and you can go back and pull up the paper like a Bible and read it, those directions to show you how to be well. They're so simple that they're almost ridiculous because the system makes you think that you got to spend all that money. You got to go jump all these hoops, take all these drugs in order to get rid of sinus, and in order to get rid of inflammation and indigestion. There are probably about 30 or 40 different meds and drugs for indigestion. That's right. How do you spell relief? ROLAIDS, Pepto-Bismol, Mylanta. Are you listening? Oh, it's crazy. But all you got to do is remember what causes indigestion. What is indigestion? Indigestion means no digestion. If you don't digest the food, what does it do? It sits in the body, it rots, it ferments, it putrefies, it turns into this morbid material that when it comes back up, you're bloating and you're burping, you bend over, the food feels like it's coming back up. Just crazy. Sometimes it smells so bad, You have to blow it this way to keep the person on this side from smelling it, because it smells like a fart coming out of your mouth. Are you getting what I'm saying? You all know what I'm talking about. You might, oh, he's talking about crazy. I'm talking about the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And you know it. What causes such foul situations in your life? Could it be that even though you're eating right, good food, that sometimes you might be eating it the right way? Let's look at it. A couple of pointers. When you're eating your foods, you should have something live at every meal. And again, for those of you who have just joined, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor. You're here with me on the Right Stuff Helps radio broadcast. It's the second half of our show today. And we're just talking about the things that you can do in order to be well, because it costs, definitely costs, to be sick. So you can eat better, okay? And then you can eat in a certain way that even the best foods will work for you the way that they're designed to. Because I talk to vegetarians and vegans every day that have all these sicknesses and all these diseases that the rest of the people have. They still have diabetes. They still have high blood pressure, cholesterol problems, kidney, bladder, yeast, ovarian infections, even AIDS, cancer. They're having all, some of them are getting COVID. I mean, like pop, 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 pop. Some of them once, twice, even 3 times they've had COVID now. And they ate preferably pretty well, they thought. But sometimes it's not what you eat, it's how you eat it. You got to have the right combinations. So every meal that you eat, first of all, should have something live with it. In other words, if you're eating cooked foods, you know they're dead. How do I know? Because you're not eating any live chickens. But over here on this side, and I like to show you this all the time, can't show it to you too much. Over here in this plate, you've got animal products, okay? You got animal products. All your different animals, beef, chicken, fish, turkey, whatever it is, they're still dead. That's the bottom line. But you also have over here things like scrambled eggs and all kinds of garbage, okay? Just food that your body really, but it's all dead. But the question is, what happens when you cook a vegetable? Well, when you cook a vegetable, it's dead too. You killed it with the heat. I know the greens taste good, the string beans, the squash, all of that tastes great. The grilled vegetables, bell peppers and onions on, all that tastes great. But once you put all that heat to it, what did you do to it? You virtually killed it. Are you listening to me? So over here, you got all the dead stuff, the animals, scrambled eggs, macaroni, cheese, even the vegetables cooked, they're dead. Over here, though, we've got green leaf lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers, potatoes, carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower, the way you put them in a salad, okay? You've got apples, peaches, pears, plums, bananas, grapes, raisins, mangoes, papayas, blueberries. All that's over here. 2 plates of food. Listen to me carefully. This is life or death. 2 plates of food. Which side has enzymes that's going to help your body digest the meal? The live side. Which side has minerals that are going to build your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, and your tendons? The live side. Which side has vitamin? Vitamin means life, that's going to build your immune system so that it can fight off things like COVID. The live side. Which side has fiber that makes the bowels move, to cleanse out your system, your colon, and get all that morbid material out? The live side. Which side do people eat the most of? The dead side. You know it. Doesn't that make sense? Duh. That should be an aha moment. Okay. How can I have good life? How can I heal? How can I think? Have good thought patterns? How can I have energy? How can I do all of that eating mainly dead food? Is that making any sense to you? Folks, again, I'm not saying you're going to die and go to hell because you eat this. I'm simply saying you need more of this to go with it, because this has everything that you need. How can you make that make any more sense than to realize that this is living, this is dead, and you are a live creature? You're alive, organic, so you don't need dead stuff, acidic stuff, mucus forming stuff, stuff that's going to literally poison and become toxic in your body. You have to stop auto intoxicating yourself. It's called unassisted suicide, folks. You're killing yourselves with a knife and a fork. You're digging your grave with a butter knife. I hope y'all are listening to what I'm saying. You can do better by getting yourself involved with a plant-based diet. How do you do that? Let's just say in the mornings, you're going to have whole grain grits or whole grain biscuits or whole grain toast or whole grain pancakes. We had some of those over the weekend. Delicious, fluffy pancakes. I mean, delicious. IHOP would have gotten jealous at what we had. It was delicious. And you can make our own table syrup, all that good stuff. And we'll be bringing all that to you soon in our new upcoming V-Scan, which is our vegan school of culinary arts and nutrition. That's right. We're going to show you. We're going to have classes. We'll actually have the schools online where you can become a part of it, and you can learn how to make even all the meat you love to eat, made from oats and soy and wheat. They kind of rhymed a little bit, didn't it? But we're going to show you how to do that, how to eat better, have delicious food that's still nutritious. But the key is you've got to begin to eat better. So if you're going to have fruits, nuts, and grains to go with that breakfast, you got a beautiful breakfast. In other words, with all those grains, natural grains, if you had 2 to 3 pieces of fruit like apple, peach, apple, pear, apple, banana, apple, grapes, apple, mango, apple, papaya, apple, blueberry, apple plus something, because apple is the king of the fruit. But not only does it have the minerals and vitamins and good moisture that you need in your body, but it also has the fiber that helps the bowels move, like most of y'all's bowels are not moving, okay? So again, that's a great breakfast. But what about lunch? Well, this is 2022 now. You know, we're on the go. Some of us are eating at Mickey D's, Wendy's, Captain D's, some of these, one of these, or all of these. Okay, that was meant to make you smile. But the key is fine. Make sure that if you're eating there, that you get a nice big salad or a nice big slaw to go with it. Why? Because the salad and the slaw are still live, and you need the live to go with the other in order that your body can have some of what it needs so that you can be healthy, so that you can heal, so that your A1C can go down, so that your sugar level, blood pressure can go down, so that your waistline can go in, and so that your energy level can go up. Folks, are you listening to me? This is Dr. Franco Taylor. You're here with me on the Right Stuff Helps radio broadcast. We're talking about what you can begin to do to live a higher quality of life. We talked on the first half of the show about the fact that the government, for many years, for the last century almost, has measured and kind of put restrictions and guidelines and guided you in the way to eat that made more profit for the overall powers to be, but that made you sick and kept you sick, folks. Are you listening to me? There's something that you can do to help your life, help yourself live a higher quality of life. The scriptures tell us, physician, heal thyself. You can do that. You can begin healing yourself by calling us at 901-425-2273. You can text us at 913-363-FOOD. Okay, that's 363-3663. And you can reach us by way of email at info@rightstuffhealth.com. Folks, call us. Let us help you start a higher quality of life today. Get a consultation. Invite us to your church or to your group. 42 years we've been doing what's called health evangelism, teaching people how to get themselves well naturally. That was the way God had designed it to do. We have powerful, powerful products. One of them here is our first product. Our number one product is called Clean Sweep Colon Broom. It's the first product that we designed 38 years ago. It's designed to go into your body and ream away at all that buildup in your colon. It'll help you to have 2 to 3 good bulky bowel movements every day. It'll help you to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds in the first few weeks, just getting waste out of the body. Before you start any program, you need to clean out first. This formula has been designed with things like anise and fennel and ginger that I placed in there because it helps you to do what? Get rid of the bloating and the griping and the flatulence that comes when you're not having the bowel movements the way that they should move, okay? So we put all that in there. We've got 3 or 4 different types of fiber to help go in and gently cleanse and tone the colon so that not only do you have good movements, but you begin to feel better. Your food begins to digest better, okay? Important. And then we talked to you, of course, about our Belage. which is one of the formulas that God blessed me to discover within the last 2 years. Japanese-based company, multi-million-dollar corporation. This formula has been in existence for 52 years. It's been overseas though, okay, over where people know that they need formulas like this in order to be well. So what am I saying? I've been talking almost an hour now. I need to get a little something to drink here. So I'm going to do that if you all don't mind. Excuse me 1 second while I sip. Thank you. I know we were all a little thirsty, so I drank us some Belage, okay? Powerful, powerful formula. But this formula was designed literally based on the lifestyle of the people in Japan that were living to be in excess of 100 years, still to this day, over 70,000 centenarians, people living to be over 100. But not only living to be 100, 110, 115, 20, but they still have strong vision, strong voices. They don't, they're not all full of mucus. Their bones and limbs, and they hear well. They're strong people, still think, cognitive reasoning. And what do? They do fermentation in the foods that they eat. And this product is one based on cold fermentation of things like olive leaf and rosemary, which you could look those two up and it would take you a month to read all the good benefits of those two. They're antimicrobial, anti-cancer, antibacterial. Are y'all listening to me? All these things that we take when we go to get these wide spectrum antibiotics, you find out that the natural ingredients in olive leaves and rosemary and green tea literally do those same things for you naturally and assist your body in healing itself. This formula has been proven with tests to literally do what? To literally assist the immune system in increasing in almost 60%, 65% in some cases, where it was able to stop, halt the actual onslaught or the forward movement of all viruses. Now you're listening to me. All viruses proven with white paper. Look it up. They literally cause the body to stop all viruses in its tracks. That is influenza A, influenza B. That's gastroenteritis. That's even SARS. SARS is the granddaddy, the grandpappy, okay, of all these viruses, because we're talking acute respiratory syndrome, which is where these viruses go to try to get you. They start cutting off your breath. Well, this formula is designed to bring more oxygen into the body, cause the body to beat. Takes over 14,000, which is 14,000 billion, which is 14 trillion antioxidant molecules, nano-size, that literally go in and start rebooting the immune system so they can fight. And then there's the Krenui. We're almost done. The Krenui literally does what? It uses thermogenesis to burn up all those caramelized, sticky, pasty fats and all those sugars and starches. It burns them up at night while you sleep. You get a good night's sleep, but all these sugars and starches don't dump into your bloodstream. Instead, they're taken out of the body. You wake up, you've had a nice night of sleep, you got all this rest, all this energy, sugar level down, blood pressure down, waistline going in. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? Powerful, powerful product. And last we'll speak about is the inner seven, all the minerals that are needed for the body, especially magnesium, to help the body to function and reach a pH balance of 7. So again, I'm Dr. Franco Taylor. I really, really love the opportunity to come before you. Today we talked about it costs to be sick, and it does, but you can adopt a plant-based diet. You can do it the right way, use the right stuff, and get well starting this very, very day. And you can call us. I'm Dr. Franco Taylor, Right Stuff Health and Wellness Center out of Memphis, Tennessee, 901-425-2273, or you can text us at 913-363-FOOD, or you can reach us by email at info@rightstuffhealth.com. Until next week, same time, same station. This is Dr. Franco Taylor. Join us. Continue to use the right stuff. I love you, and may God bless.